So welcome to the one-liner masterclass. This recording will be sent to all of you, all of the people who are registered for last week and this week, and for the bonus tomorrow. So please don't miss the bonus. So what's going to happen is I'm going to teach. We're going to do a little bit of work together. And then towards the end of the 90 minutes, so at around like the 70-minute mark, you guys are up. You're going to be standing up and doing your, while standing, you can stand or sit at your chair, but you'll be volunteering to do your one-liner. Now, for those of you, I think, Andrew, you said you had to go early, right? Okay. So maybe we can, let me know when you have to go so then we can hear yours earlier, or you can do one of the demo exercises with me. How's that? You're up for anything, eh? Andrew's my friend. He has to be up for anything. All right. And Cheryl, okay. Oh, Chad says my voice is going in and out. Is that true for everyone? No. Oh, Chad, I'm so sorry. Maybe get to another location. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So, Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to volunteer before you leave. So, you have to leave at the 3 o'clock mark, right? Okay. All right, let's pull up the presentation, my PowerPoint. Okay, we are all gathered here, as I used to love to say before corporate meetings because they were so boring. Then I'd pretend it was a wedding. I'd say, we are all gathered here for the purpose of, and we are all gathered here for the purpose of figuring out how to do your one-liner pitch. And this is me, my story after 18 years at working at these big giant companies, Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito-Lay, Smirnoff. I launched my own coaching business. It was called Coach Tactics. Do you need coaching? And it was super generic. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential. And my pitch was, I'm a certified coach and I help businesses and individuals achieve more success. So I thought that was like super clever. Oh my God, you guys, I'm wearing the same jacket. Ooh, that's dating me. Holy, but I love this jacket. Okay, the other coaches in my market, this is what the market looked like. Can I have a show of hands for how many people face that much competition? Can I have a show of hands? Yes, 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 yes. Isn't it funny? I'm wearing the same jacket. Oh my God. Anyway, never mind. And this is like being recorded. So my ridiculousness is being recorded. Okay, hold on. Going back to the PowerPoint. Okay. So then I went broke. I left my corporate job and I thought, oh, you know, like I got this coaching certificate, I'm going to be rich. And of course I didn't. Then I changed my pitch, and my new one-liner pitch was I help coaches and consultants fix their pitch so they can stop confusing prospects and get more clients. Super, super simple. And the results were, this is my baby. He's like taller than me now. That's us at NASA. And by the way, that's like a green screen. They make you kneel. It's hilarious. And, but the results were I tripled my 20-year corporate salary in 3 years after starting this. And then I have time to work out every day. I'm pretty, you know, passionate about that. And then he's 14 now, but Logan's on the spectrum of autism. So I kid you not, I think we have 3 therapists. And like he has brain training. Like autism is the kind of thing that you have to work early intervention, we were always told. So literally he's had a therapist since the age of 2 because he was nonverbal. And now like he's on the football team, he's in high school, like he has a summer job where he cold calls for, you know, for sales. So anyway, he's all the early intervention is helping. But the only reason why I'm telling you this is because all of this has helped, like my job, the fact that I was able to have a one-liner and teach people how to do the one-liner has helped him has crafted our lives. And yeah, and the private school and the therapists. And I also have I always like to joke, I have my dream car, and it's a German car that starts with a P, which in one of my talks, one person approached me later and invited me to, apparently they have a club, but I didn't know. I'm not a guy. So, and she was a lady, and she said like they have a club. So I'm going to go join their club. So you're in the right place if you're a great coach or consultant, but you feel confused about how to introduce what you do for a living. You find that people often misunderstand what you do and nobody's asking you for an appointment, or like can I get your card, or can I get information about you? Online or offline when you're doing your introduction and you're having trouble growing your revenue past a certain point and it's been a while. So after this training, I want you to stop getting a confused look from people you meet and describe what you do for a living. And then I want you to stop wasting time on using a pitch that doesn't convert. And then I want you to get into sales calls as soon as you introduce yourself to your prospects you want to work with. I'm going to be drinking my lemon. I'm just going to take a minute to tell you that just before the call, I was actually on YouTube learning how to clear my sinuses with a massage. They have amazing videos because I have this massive cold, this head cold. Now, last week I didn't. So I was talking like crazy. So this week, as soon as I'm like stopped up, you guys are going to start doing your elevator pitches. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go as far as I can, as fast as I can. Maybe not that fast, but I'm going to go as far as I can. Okay. So I want you to imagine a world where every new person you meet wants to have a sales conversation. That's the dream, right? And there's no more praying and spraying of your social media messaging randomly. And you regularly get leads from your marketing efforts. And you have a rinse and repeat formula to make the sales happen. It's not like feast or famine. It's a regular sales cycle. And what the problem is that 4 out of 5 of you that I've met, and I had, like at one time during COVID, I had 3 podcasts. So I interviewed like hundreds of consultants and coaches. And some of you I've met on those podcasts, you guys. So they've never gotten business out of online or offline networking meetings because their messaging isn't working. And prospects are just like bombarded by messages and pitches just like yours, and they just don't understand why what you do is different. And that's why 86% of buyers, they don't see a real difference between 2 people who do the same thing. So what you want instead is online and offline messaging that always gets your response. And when you do your pitch, it's so compelling that you're not price shopped. They're like, I gotta have her, I gotta have him. And you don't compete with everybody else, and you have a real differentiator. So I want to remind you of the rules of engagement, which I sent you guys, but this is fully interactive. That's why please turn on your camera and your sound when you're going to do your pitch, and you'll have an amazing opportunity to network. People actually get business out of my, workshops. I get business, but they get business. So I want you to use this networking opportunity. So prepare to turn all that on, put on your good face, makeup, whatever, take off your PJs, and you'll have a go at your one-liner pitch according to the formula at the end of the training. And it's a very gentle, caring space. I'm Canadian, we're very nice. So I want to make you feel safe that I'll just, ask for your permission to polish. And then if I have your permission, then we'll go ahead and polish your pitch. Okay. And I promise to be gentle. So what is one-liner marketing? It's just a short, concise description of what you do that actually gets appointments and converts to sales. But why one-liner? How did I come up with this? Am I talking too much? So every research now shows that shorter attention spans, they've decreased almost 25% in 15 years. Social media marketing and mobile usage, you have to use less text. And then there's that research that says that less speaking sells more. It's called the 43-57 rule, that they looked at 25,000 sales calls and they measured how much the rep was talking. And then when they spent 43% of the time talking, they got the most amount of sales. But if they spent 60% or more, they got the lowest sales. So the more you talk, the less you sell. So why is having a one-liner so hard? Well, people want to show off everything they know. And this kind of looks like my son, Logan, because I swear to God, he was doing that last night because he's still like trying to work out at his school has a gym. It's hilarious. And people want to show off everything they know. The curse of knowledge. When you know too much, you're too close to it. You think it's simple. You think people understand what the heck you're talking about. And then the other thing is, I found that people who don't know exactly what to say feel like it's better to say too much than just one thing. So you bury the message and hope that the right person picks it up. But the truth is, if you've seen any of my marketing to this, leading up to this event, confused minds don't buy. They just leave. And then of course there's the big ego. People are in love with the sound of their own voice. I wrote a book called How to Make Anyone Like You in 7 Seconds or Less. And in the research of that book, they talk about how people would rather, in research, they chose talking about themselves over being offered food or money. And they, in one case, equated it to eating like 2,000 pounds of chocolate. That's how much, chemical endorphins and dopamine they were hit with. So people just love to talk about themselves. So how to stand out and building your one-liner is really 3 steps. Pick a specific audience, find their pain, and we're going to go through all this, and state how you can help. Okay. Now, none of these are like super like crazy, right? But the crazy part is how to do it. Like, what is the sweet spot? So pick one. And yeah, time. I'm not saying you have to stick with it until you die. I just want you to pick one for the next 6 to 12 months if you're a solopreneur like me. If you have, I have clients that have, teams of 6, 10, 20 sales reps. That's a different ballgame. We do different audience targeting with them. But if you're just one, please just start with one for now. And what I mean when I say target audience is I want you to pick either an industry or an interest group. Okay? Because why is that? It's easy to market to, because humans, us, self-gather only in 2 ways, by industry or interest group. And what I mean by industry is like if they're in pharmaceutical, if they're in healthcare, if they're in IT. And then interest is women in business, or it could be B2C, like business to consumer, like yoga moms or moms of, kids with autism, or foodies, like whatever interest they have, people form a group for. Okay. Why does it matter that they're self-forming their own groups? Is because it takes 7 to 12 touches before they buy. So I don't want you to go and do the heavy lifting of getting them together when they're already getting together. So why would you do the heavy lifting if they're already doing it for you? So why pick one target at a time is because you know where to find them, and you know what they want and need. And you're only one person, or you have limited resources, and you know their common language around the problem that you solve. So here's your customer sun. This is my metaphor for your marketing plan. Now, this is something we're going to cover actually in detail tomorrow in the bonus session. And the bonus session tomorrow is around your marketing plan. Like, how do you turn your one-liner into a marketing plan? And I'm actually going to be presenting out of my do-it-yourself made online, full recorded, nail your niche program that I'm going to talk to you about at the end. And so this is the model. You put your customer in the middle of the sun. So this is their world. It's the perspective of their eyes and ears. And then you look at, okay, what's their lifestyle like? What do a lot of them do or like? What publications or media do they consume? What associations or organizations do they go to? Which meetings, conferences, trade shows, and events are they at? What other professionals already work with this target that they use? And then who are your competitors that they have something different about them and you that you could form an alliance with, but they're already working in your customer's world. Okay. So this is how, and I'm going to show you tomorrow, I actually show you all the different ways that you can market to these targets through these targets. Now, why one target at a time? If you remember something called the JAM study, it's the paradox of choice. And in 2000, they did a study at Columbia and Stanford, and on a different day, they had a local food market. People would find a display table with 24 and then 6 jams. And guess which table, the day that they were given 6 or 24, sold more? 10 times the sales of the other. Of course, didn't give the answer. Of course, it's the one with the 6, because confused minds don't buy. When people are offered too many things that you do, when you tell them about, when you kitchen sink, I call it the kitchen sinking, when you kitchen sink what you do for a living and who you work for. And I've had sales calls all throughout this week and last week, and people were kitchen sinking all day long. It's because they don't know themselves. They haven't done the strategic work that I'm going to show you how to do today. And they are offering the 24 different kinds of jams, and people are not buying. That's why you need to get, in your case, just the one kind of jam you need to offer so that you can have a lot more sales. Okay. All right. So what is considered an industry or an interest group? So to be an industry, I consider it has to have a governing body. So like an association or an organization. So for example, one of my clients is a physician who works, who specializes in addictions, and he is calling every single association in his town. And their governing bodies, they actually have events. So he's asking, do you have speakers at the events? He's asking, do you have publications? Do you have chapters? Do you have, LinkedIn groups and chats? So that's what an industry is. Like they must have those things to be considered a target in my book. An interest group is like go on Meetup. Meetup will tell you if there is a self-organizing group. It doesn't have to be through Meetup, but it will be a really good indicator that there is a big enough interest. So, and you'll see one of the examples was one of my clients was she was a wealth advisor, and we targeted divorcing and separating women. And there were so many groups in just Toronto alone. I think there were 22 groups in Meetup of self-organizing divorcing women. Okay, so here's some case studies. This was an IT company. Before they were just generic IT companies. It's the kind that, your eyes roll when they say we do IT. And then that the name of the company was IntelliFlex, and they really needed to grow their sales. And what we did is we went through the exercise that you guys are going to go through in depth, and then they became the healthcare call center specialist on hold rescue, because the problem that they found through the research that we did was that call centers for healthcare, people were literally waiting on hold for so long that they either hung up and died, or they never got, resolved, and they just became worse. So they became the on-hold rescue, the healthcare call center optimization. They didn't have to hire a single extra person. They didn't have to buy a single extra anything. All they did was they repurposed what they already did, because they're IT specialists. So, and then with one email and one landing page, this is the result that they got. We did over 805,000 in sales in our first quarter. Jill Williams, the owner, said, and you can actually find that video on, I'm going to post these if you guys are not in the group. There's a Facebook group called One Liner Marketing. It's in all of the link is all in all of your collateral that I've sent in the emails, but I'm going to be posting some of these, and you can listen to her talk about how exactly they made this happen. Okay, so her one-liner elevator pitch used to be, we're an IT company. We help corporations with their managed services. It went to, we reduced the 45-minute on-hold wait time for healthcare call centers by automating their software. Super simple. Here's another client. Before, they were like a generic ad agency. And then after, they became an inbound marketing company, which means like you fire your sales staff, and then that's how you like online with your online content, you get sales. And they specialized in food service manufacturers. And we didn't just throw spaghetti at the wall, my friends, we actually did the research that you guys are going to look at. So did this work? Yes, in food and beverage. So this is the owner of the company, and she wrote an email. Great, awesome news. Hi guys, I called X Foods today. Spoke with the director of marketing for food service. At first he turned me down, but as soon as I said we specialize, his ears perked up. He wouldn't stop talking. He was delighted to hear that we specialize in the industry. So all I'm trying to tell you is when you specialize, you get some notice. And of course they got the business. So here was their one-liner. They were saying we're an ad agency who does strategy and design. And they now started saying we help get leads online for food service manufacturers 10 times faster than your sales staff. Okay. So let's talk about your worksheet. So when you go to, so let me just stop sharing. So when you go to, how many of you have this? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. So the first page, I went through all the answers. If you didn't catch them, let me know in the end. Hey, Lynn, so nice to see you. Okay, so then go to page 3, where I want you to list some target industries or interest groups that self-gather in large numbers for what you do. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. And then I want you to literally list some industries or interest groups of humans that you can target, that self-gather, and then I'll ask one person to share. Yeah, digital gatherings absolutely count. No, not just real life. I don't know of one interest group. Ronnie, go to meetup.com. Wow, a lot of people are saying, oh, just chat and Mia. I hope my voice is fine. A lot of people are saying. I don't know if one interest aligned and full. What did meetup? Yeah, let's talk about that. So who is having, except for, who's having difficulty doing this exercise? Okay, Andrew, see you later. Who's having difficulty? I didn't see any. I mean, most people don't have their camera. There's so many in Meetup. Kimberly. Okay. Kimberly, do you want to turn up your mic?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, so tell me, who is your target industry?
Well, I think for me, I have picked, oh gosh, I've gone through starting out with moms to going to women who are recovering from trauma to finally just really wanting to target women who are focusing on identity. But I think the biggest thing for me is I've always been told not to use words like struggling. So women struggling with identity or, um, gosh, trying to determine purpose.
Yeah. Okay. So, and can I ask what you do, Kimberly? Remind me.
I have been in education for 27 years and decided to become a women's empowerment coach.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to actually do the whole exercise with Kimberly, the whole page. All right. So I want you to think about some women's groups that actually self-gather. What interests do women have? Can anybody name an interest that women have? I'm going to say one, yoga. What other, yeah, Rachel?
Parenting.
Parenting, yeah. What other groups, what interests do women have? Anybody? Even if you're not a woman?
Maybe their own like entrepreneurship groups, like women's
Yeah,
entrepreneurship group,
entrepreneurs, yeah. Uh-huh.
women's solo traveling groups. I see a
Yes,
lot.
yes. There's everything from women lawyers to women, uh, you know, cooking groups. There's book clubs.
Self-care.
Yeah, there's like so many women's groups. So now I want you to do the exercise. This is for everyone. This is the next exercise, fit for you. So let's take, Kimberly, take one of those groups. So which one did you like? Did you like the yoga or did you like, what kind of groups do you belong to? Like, do you have any hobbies?
Well, of course, teaching groups,
They have teaching groups?
entrepreneurs.
Okay, so do they have like teaching groups? Do they actually have like monthly meetings, blah, blah? Okay, great.
Not monthly meetings, but there are kind of like support, I guess, communities.
Okay, so can you actually meet humans there?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay, perfect. That's all we need, humans. And they're self-gathering. Great.
Mhm.
What is the fit for you? And I want you to, so you guys in the second half, look at the industry name or the interest group name, and then fit for you on a score of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest fit. The teaching group, what is this fit for you on a score of 1 to 10?
That would be a 10.
Thank you. There you go. Now, ability to pay your fees. How much is your fee? Is it $500 an hour, $100 an hour, $1,000 a week? What is your fee?
It would be for a program, it would be 1,200.
1,200. Okay. And what is the likelihood on a score of 1 to 10, the dollar potential, the potential that they can pay this?
I think it gets hard for teachers.
Okay, so would you say it's a 1?
Maybe a 4.
Okay, put a 4 then. So we had a 10 and a 4. And then now, access to decision makers, actual people who would actually pay you. Do you have access on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being like you have a lot of access, day in, day out, you have access to these people where you can go and join their groups and meet them and talk to them? Is that a 10 out of 10 or is that a 1 out of 10?
I'm going to say it's a 7.
Okay, so I want you to add that up. What is that? 21, right?
Yes,
21. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna try another group. You're gonna try, give me, what was another group? Somebody put it in, fitness, losing weight. Yeah, so Ronnie put in a lot of that. Okay, so then why don't you also score that? And then what I want you guys to do is the same thing. And I'm gonna ask for one person to volunteer to share 2 scores that they came up with to show us the difference. Okay,
Okay.
so I want you to come up with 2 different industry or interest groups. I want you to score them just like we did for Kimberly. And then I want you to just score them. Okay, so Ronnie, let's see here. You're lost. How do I pick one interest and score it? Okay, so Ronnie, give me one interest group that you could target.
Consistent fitness or consistent exercise and weight loss.
Okay, so would it be, give me a group of women that would get together? Would it be a fitness group? Women who get together and do fitness together?
But see, if they already do it, then they're consistent.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help people who's like, they just can't.
Okay, no, so
seem
what
to-
about, give me an interest that you have, like knitting or foodies or
And
mom.
like, I want to target the women that would, and the men who would pick me.
Okay, so pick a hobby. Give me a hobby that you have.
I don't
Give
have a
me
hobby. I
golfing.
travel, I work out, I weight train, I love movies.
Okay.
But people are trying to get habits and be consistent in something, and they've tried
Understood.
discipline and willpower, and it doesn't work.
That's okay. So I want you to just start with an interest. So take, like, let's say movies. Is there on Meetup a group that goes and sees movies? Is
Yeah,
there? Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I'm sure. I
Yeah.
haven't looked it up.
Or is there a group on Meetup that gets together for hikes? Or
Yes.
like, okay, right. So that's what I want you to go and target. And I want you so hikers, all right? Then I want you to score it. What is the fit for you with hikers? On a scale of 1 to 10. How like,
That's the problem. That's my problem. If they're doing it, they're already doing it. I need to help people who want to stick to it and don't.
well, there's a lot of assumptions that you're making there, and I don't know exactly what you're helping them with, but if anybody who's doing any kind of fitness activity is not a good target for you, then pick a non-fitness activity. So pick cooking or pick knitting or reading or bowling. I mean, I don't know if that's considered fitness. So pick something that is not related to anything physical and then try to talk to them and see what is the fit and so on. Okay, so who wants to volunteer to present their 2? Okay, Cheryl, you want to present? Who are the 2?
Hi. You said 2 targets. Are they the position description or the industry?
Industry.
The industry I picked, because that's my industry, it's security for sports and entertainment.
Yeah, but who's your target industry? Pick me a target industry.
Festivals and concerts.
Yeah. And then is there another one? I think it was sports events, right?
Right.
Okay. And which has the highest score? Did you score them all? And which of the festivals or the sports events are the highest score?
For me, I think it's going to be the festivals and concerts.
Okay. And did you do the scoring? What were the numbers?
I did, let me make sure I did this right. I did, my fit for me, I put 10.
Uh-huh.
For potential for money, they have the money, so I put 10.
Okay.
Access to decision maker which actually is interesting because I think you and I did this exercise before. At one point, I think I used to be at a 4, and
Oh.
now I consider myself more at an 8.
How come?
I am getting in. Like I became a member of an association where all the people I want to have access to are also members. It's just that they don't always want to talk to me. so so I call it an 8. Because does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's 28. And what's the score for the sports events?
The sports events, I think that's more along like, hold on, let's go back because I didn't really score it. I would say fit for me for sporting events, I would say maybe a 7.
Okay.
I would say potential for money would be a 10.
Uh-huh.
Access to decision makers, I would maybe make a 7 as well.
Okay, so 14 against 28. So obviously you guys can see that's what I want for you to do. When I work with a client, what we do, and Cheryl and I have worked together, what we do is we actually write down every single target, every single potential niche, and then we score it, and then we look at the top 3 scores, and then we go and research them. Now I'm going to show you the next step. Is there any questions around that? No, we're good? All right. Okay. I'm going back to my presentation. All right. Okay, so we score all the industries and we did that. And that's the part that we did. Okay, step number 2 is find their pain. And when I say their pain, I want you to find just one facet. So think of pain as a diamond, and I want you to just pick one facet of the diamond. So if you had a stadium full of your ideal client, what would you say to them? And remember, this is your either roundtable introduction or your elevator pitch introduction. Does anybody know what you would say to them? And somebody who hasn't seen last week's, any guesses? What would you say? You're given a microphone and you're out there and there's a whole stadium full of your ideal target. What would you do? What would you say to them? Anybody? I know it's really scary.
I can jump in if you want.
Yeah,
So I help early stage B2B companies with their customer success motion to drive revenue and retention.
mm-hmm. Great. Okay, so who's in the audience?
Founders, mostly. B2B SaaS founders, ideally.
Okay, great. All right. I'm going to polish you later, but thank you for volunteering. That's awesome. All right. So here, let's go back. Here is what people want to hear. 70% of people make purchasing decisions to solve a problem, and only 30% make decisions to gain something. So B2B customer success is gaining something. So I'm going to get to this, and I hope we can have a chance to polish it again based on what purchasing decisions people are actually making to solve a problem. Okay, so why their pain, and this is in the worksheet, is 70% of humans purchase based on solving a problem and only 30% buy. And you become an authority in their pain. So I'm going to show you something really strange about this authority business. So in a book, Robert Cialdini's influence book, he talks about this experiment where it's kind of like sadistic. So it's the power of authority. And they did an experiment where they asked like regular people, like housewives and just like teachers and just you and me, to shock victims, like electric shocks, when they answered questions incorrectly. And those in charge, they dressed them in white lab coats and to give them the appearance of high authority. And these guys were saying, okay, give more, give more, give more, right? And the participants were told that the shocks they gave increased 15 volts in intensity every time they got the victims answered it wrong. And 2/3 of the participants, these regular people, ignored it when the victims were screaming, even though they were actors, to the full dose. And like the researchers were just shocked. They're like, why did you do that? How did you do it? And they said, because of authority. We were unable to defy the wishes of these guys in white lab coats. So what does it do when you yourself look like an authority? When you don't have a focus in one thing, you cannot look like an authority. And that's the problem. So here are some case studies of where we've turned people into authorities. So this was Michelle. The name of her company was Millennial Strategist. And this was before 2020. By the end of 2020, 2 out of 3 millennials hope to have quit their current employer to join a new organization. And guess what? Did she not foretell this problem? Do you remember? Like the whole, you know, the quiet quitting and the big resignation, like that all happened, right? And she couldn't have even foretold the pandemic. But so she became this, you know, millennial strategist that was an authority in millennials not leaving your organization. And her one-liner pitch was, before we met, it was like, oh, we're a consulting company. We help government agencies. And then it went really focused. We help increase millennial employee retention for IT companies by creating internal community engagement programs. This is the wealth advisor I was telling you about. Before we met, this was her website. It was just like on a carousel, you know, Lynn Grant was the mishmash of her name. That was the name of her company. And she did everything from retirement to succession planning to mortgages to everything. And then we re-niched her into divorcingwoman.ca. Choice through clarity became her tagline. And then, are you thinking about divorce? Are you trying to understand your financial position? And her one-liner used to be, oh, I'm a advisor. I do everything from investments to succession planning. And it went to, I help divorcing women maintain their level of lifestyle by helping them take control of their finances before the divorce. Here is another example of, she used to be, this is Catherine. She used to have a generic language school, and we re-niched her into cultural language training for mining companies. And the messaging was 67% of executives said that these language miscommunications would lead to inefficiencies, and half agreed that it made collaboration slow down productivity. And it's the one-liner used to be, oh, we're a language school. We work with large corporations. It went to, we work with mining companies, and we stop slowdowns in productivity with foreign teams because they're cultural misunderstandings. So there are 3 ways to find your target's pain. And one, you can ask them. That's the kind that I like, because that turns into a sale. Number 2, and I'm going to ask you to actually take a go at it in the worksheet here. I'm going to ask you to do a little huddle, not 5 minutes, I'll do 2 minutes. And I want you to come up with 3 pain points for your target group. So 1 is you can ask them. 2 is you can Google it, which I don't recommend just Googling it, because people have been so wrong, and it doesn't give you an opportunity to actually sell to people, because when you're in front of them asking them about their pain and you can help them with their pain, guess who gets the sale, right? And the other thing you can do is ask their customers and suppliers around their pain so that you've done the work, okay? So here is the exercise. I want you to take 2 minutes. I want you to take the industry or interest group that you picked in the first exercise, and I want you to write down, what are the 3 problems you can solve for them that are really expensive, either emotionally expensive if you're doing something to do with humans, or if it's with companies, then it has to be monetarily, because companies speak in money. So what are the 3 pain points? And I will give you 2 minutes. And then I'll ask for someone to share, someone new, a new face. And thank you for those who are leaving their cameras on. So I know you're not washing dishes. I know, right? I used to remember, like during COVID, people would be on their treadmills and be in meetings. And I just thought it was so funny. But hey, I am not knocking fitness, right? It's getting warm in here, you guys. I guess the cough syrup is kicking in. I've got all my Ricola. I've got my honey tea. Like if I seize up, I've got everything. I'm ready for you. But I'm getting better. Yesterday, I couldn't do anything. I don't know how you can think with me talking. All right. What brave soldier is gonna share? Someone new.
I can go.
All right.
So should I tell what I do first, or should I just go with the
Yeah, you know what? You'll tell us anyway. So tell
Okay,
me.
cool. That's what I figured. Yeah, so I only have two because I think they're the most important and the ones that I hear the most. Their website is not attracting the right traffic organically, or not attracting the right traffic in general.
Mhm.
And their website is not converting that traffic into actual paying customers. Those are the two things that
Who's the target? Do you have?
so I primarily, yeah, so I provide user experience to small businesses of all types, but my primary target is probably like local service providers. So like local home companies, salons, therapists, coaches, consultants. And I travel a lot, so I also work with like hostels quite frequently.
You have quite a few there.
I know. So I'm here.
Yeah. So yeah, and that would be job number one, is to see
Yeah.
the most lucrative that you can dive in on.
Mhm.
Okay, so there's 2 pain points, not attracting the right traffic, and then the website is not converting. Those are two
Right.
pain points. Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else? Yes, Steph?
Thank you. So my pain points, I actually have 3, and they're from a survey that I ran recently. But there's 1, not enough time in the day. 2, that people can't recharge, women can't recharge, they're constantly overwhelmed and exhausting. And 3, that they're adjusting to kids moving on in life.
The third one is what?
Adjusting to their kids moving on in life, sorry.
Okay. So, and who's the target?
Gen X working moms.
Working.
So what I do is I help Gen X working moms who feel disconnected and unseen to get to their personal clarity and big life goals.
Okay. So, do I have your permission to comment on the work? Okay. So where do they gather?
So there are a number of Gen X mom communities, specifically in Facebook. That's why I asked the question earlier if Facebook groups would count. And that's primarily where I connect with them and where they gather.
And is that converting a lot of business?
Well, so I'm just starting in my business journey in this iteration of it, but I mean, I've built a list so far of 1,400 people that are wanting to connect with me. So,
Okay,
yes,
that's promising. So I had not known of a Gen X working moms group. I don't know how prevalent they are. I don't like, so, and again, to me, the only thing that matters in a target group is that there's a lot of them that self-gather in large numbers, right? I've noticed that people just don't self-gather by age anymore. I mean, I go to an ABBA revival and the 20-year-olds are there and I'm 54, right? So
yeah.
I don't know if Gen X working moms is a big enough group for you, or whether you need to like target it down or pick a different target around, like maybe it's yoga moms, or maybe it's I don't know, some other group, like some interest that they do, or maybe it's something local, right? Maybe it's the the Lions Club of your city, or so. That's the only caution. And then for the pain points, I'm more interested in what the pain points cause. Okay. So not enough time. What is that causing?
So it's causing them to miss out on key family events. It's causing them to make critical choices between work and family that they feel guilty in both directions going whenever they do it. And it's contributing tremendously to all the other things that they can't recharge, and they aren't getting enough time to, or they're constantly feeling exhausted as well.
Okay, so that's what I want, is for everyone to think about what you think is the pain, but take it further. Like, what does that cause? What does that cause? What does that cause? Because truly, at the end of the day, not enough time is not the problem. The problem is that like, and I didn't even take you further. You said they have guilt around, you know, family or work. And then what does that cause? That causes sleepless nights. What does that cause? You know, early onset of menopause. I don't know. What does that cause? Right? Heart attack. So I want you to take it all the way down in terms of the pain of what is the actual real end result here that is the impact. Okay. Not enough time is not the actual pain. It's just it's one of the symptoms, right? The actual pain, the evidence of the pain. That's where I want you to get to. Okay. So so how are we doing on time? Okay, we're good. So I'm going back. Is there any questions with respect to this? I think Cheryl, yeah.
Hi, I did my 3 pain points, right, for my industry, right? And then you were saying what's cost. So if I said, what's pain number 1 that a festival or concert has with so how to communicate with fans during an emergency, right? And then their other pain point would be how to get the fans to download the emergency security app before the emergency happens. That's one of their pain points. And then how to build a relationship with those fans that build that trust so that they're reporting information to them during an emergency, right?
Yeah, and I remember I had worked on this, and I think it was the biggest problem was bums and seats.
Yeah, right. Well, they're getting the bums in the seats, but they're still not getting the communication. And we're the communication part of it, right? We have the mobile app, we have that. But the challenge is also now trying to get them to getting their fans to download that app before the emergency happened. We had a situation where people didn't download it, then there was an emergency, and now people are trying to download it, which, you know, that doesn't work. So anyway.
So we'll take that offline, but what I want for all of you to know is you have to write down the pain, and what you need to do is walking out of here today, I want you to actually reach out to a decision maker that you're not doing business with, that is in your target, and I want you to ask them, which of these 3 is the biggest problem for you? Okay, and have that conversation with them. Now, in my work with clients, what we do is we do a little bit of a bigger part of this, like, and Cheryl would attest to that. We don't just ask them which of the 3 problems, but we also ask them about price. We ask them about, you know, where they gather. We ask them a whole bunch of information. And at the end, we offer to have a strategy meeting with them, just like how I'm going to offer to have a strategy meeting with any of you who want to work with me. So that's the beauty of information fact finding. But unless you do the work of trying to figure out what is the pain, you're kind of like letting them kind of like, oh, I don't know. Like I used to go to so many consumer, you know, tests where we'd say, okay, open-ended, what is the problem? They'd be like, I don't know. So you have to come up with what is the problem first, and then get their mind jogging. And then you have to ask them, which of these 3 is the biggest, most expensive problem? And then if it's none of them, they will tell you, but at least you've started their brain and you've started them thinking about the problem. Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue the presentation. Okay. So step number 3 is state how you can help. So this is where the one-liner elevator pitch formula comes in. And the one-liner pitch formula is the target that you help. So that's on the last page, the target that you help, and the problem that you solve, and how you help. And to enhance the effectiveness, you can add a statistic and the result of working with you. Okay. So the example that I gave is I help. So let me go back. On the worksheet, I help 3 out of the 4 business owners who never get asked for a card or an appointment after they do their pitch to their prospect. Fix their messaging to get more clients. So that's the example. Now, let me give you some more case studies. This was a generic promotional products company. Again, the name was the mishmash of a family name, her name, Niad Promotions. And after we did the strategic work, she became a lead gen funnel, which became like, she became an expert through gifting for insurance agents. So this is her testimonial. Again, I'll put this on the meeting, sorry, not the meeting, the LinkedIn, not the LinkedIn, oh my God, the Facebook group. And Tina was online her pitch. We're a promotional products company. We help insurance agents who never get anything from going to trade shows and spending money on these tchotchkes to build a lead funnel to market to prospects over and over again, because they actually put a QR code on these gifts so that she built a funnel that the QR code would then allow the people to enter their information and actually get a secondary prize for entering their information. And that way, these insurance agents actually got a list that they could call after a show. Here's another client. She had a she had a translation company. So before they were generic translators, the name of the company was Language Marketplace. And this was like their website. Oh, they have huge client approval and retention. But then when we did the work, this was their niche, is over 75% of the world speaks a language other than English, and they're experts translating these other languages like Punjabi and Cantonese. And their one-liner pitch went from, we're a translation company who works with governments, agencies, all industries, and they focused on marketing agencies, and they became the fastest translators of other languages. Here's another example of, again, the name of the company was GR Marketing Strategist. When you're a small business, when you name your company, it's like you're naming your child or something. And so you make it very personal. There's inside jokes. This was his, nicknamed with his dad. I think it was his dad's initials, but it has like no SEO, no searchability, no ability to communicate anything. So I'm really against acronyms for business names. So he had GR Marketing Strategist. This was the website. And then when we repositioned him, he became the fooddistributionguy.com, and he got you marketing to get you listed in grocery stores and stay listed. And his one-liner became, we're a marketing strategy firm. We work with companies to increase their sales. And it went to, we help food manufacturers get listed 4 times faster than average and help them stay 30% longer. And he got so many clients that's me at his wedding. We didn't get married, but he asked his girlfriend at the age of 61 to get married. And I always take the credit, and I show this picture and I tell everyone he got so many clients that he asked his girlfriend to marry him. And he actually thanked me in his wedding speech, which was so nice, because I never knew how awkward it was to go to a wedding by yourself. So don't do that. So my one-liner, again, as an example, is I help coaches and consultants fix their elevator pitch so they can stop confusing prospects and get more clients. And here's where you're brave sharing. So I want to give you the formula. Let me go back to the formula. I don't know where I buried the formula. There we go. There we go. So it is the target that you help plus the problem that you solve. Okay. And I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we will take whoever wants to try it. Okay.
Would you place the formula on the screen, Shanna, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, who wants to go? Someone new. Someone who hasn't gone.
I'll go.
Right, Annie.
So my one-liner is, I empower singles to become flexible with their hearts, uncover their charm, and discover a love of a lifetime.
Okay, so do I have your permission to polish? Okay.
Please.
So, is there a lot of singles groups that you can, easily go to? It seems like there would be, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And, what is the number one problem that you're solving?
Number one problem, just like, well, I have a list. It's fear of rejection, worried that all the good ones are taken, finding connection, just having a partnership with someone and sharing adventures with.
So that's not a problem, right? So the fear of rejection is a problem. The good ones are taken are a problem. So,
Okay.
so I want you, so if you notice, you did the opposite. You did the 30%, what 30% are interested in, which is empowerment, like the value add, right? So I want you to twist it into the pain. So what would be the number one pain that you can help around that the most amount of singles are willing to pay to fix?
Work it around like the fear of rejection, you're saying?
Huh? And what does the fear of rejection cause? What is the problem?
Like it causes us to be like unapproachable or being a hermit.
Okay. So, and what does that cause? Like, what does that result in?
That would result in not being able to meet anyone.
So being alone.
Mhm.
Okay. So you're alone because you're alone and approachable because of the fear of rejection.
Okay.
And what is it that you do to help them? I do coaching, consulting, training. Is that what it is? I do
Mhm.
counseling, whatever it is that you do. So how do you help them? You do coaching and consulting to help them, or coaching or therapy?
Coaching, matchmaking, setting up dates for them.
Okay, so is the coaching the first thing that people want, or the matchmaking?
I think like they think they want matchmaking, but then I have to kind of coach them.
Yeah, and that's great. I love that. I love the cross sell, upsell, but I need your message to be around what they want.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
okay.
They
So
are,
it would be matchmaking because that's what they want. Like they want the date set up.
there you go. Okay, so I'm a matchmaker for people who are alone because they're unapproachable due to the fear of rejection. There you go.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I mean, that really, really, really is different than what you said, isn't it?
Totally. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Okay, who's next?
Thank you.
Mia.
Thank you, John. Here's what I've come up with, and I'm Canadian too, and I'm not afraid of negative feedback. I know it'll help. So I specialize in helping the executive woman who, in spite of her success, position, and income, is deeply unhappy about something that has happened in the past. She's unable to resolve it and unable to share it with anybody.
That's it. It's certainly sweet and short and sweet. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was it. Okay. Okay, do I have your permission to polish?
Absolutely.
So executive women, where do you find them? Like, does it have to, can you be more specific?
Yeah, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I now belong to C-Suite Network. I'm a founder of the Women's Global Alliance, so they'll be there. Chief. So that sort of organization, I think, is where I'll find them.
So women like WPO, see like,
Any of the X's, like
So-
chief marketing officer or courses.
but in terms of where do you find them? So my concern is like CEOs have their own channels, but women CEOs are so rare that there's so few of them. And I know because I speak at the WPO, which is Women's
It's an executive woman. She doesn't have to be a CEO,
Okay,
but she's on the executive team. You know,
so where do you penetrate them? I would love it if you could pick an industry. Pick an industry.
If I had to pick one that I know anything about, that I have contacts, I'd say insurance.
That's good enough for me. Insurance. Okay. And what is the number one problem? You said they're deeply unhappy due to a past, but if you can get more specific, like how is it showing up in her life? Is she not able?
Typically it's a trauma that happened in her early life that has never been dealt with. And how it shows up, for some women, it's too much alcohol. So it could be some sort of addiction, could be alcohol, food, shopping.
Okay.
It could show up in poor leadership.
Yeah.
So poor productivity.
Yeah. So what I would do is I would write down, remember the 3 pain points? So one of them would be addiction.
Mm-hmm.
Another one would be, if it's poor leadership.
Poor leadership.
But how does that show up at work if it's poor leadership? Then
reduced income. This is not part of what you're asking, but in sort of working through from the last session of yours, I thought, you know what I never talk about is that whenever I work with an executive woman, she has a massive increase in income. But that's not what they come to me for.
Yeah, well, I want to know
it
is, right?
They're not happy. They're miserable.
So we got to be more specific though. Remember I said a diamond?
More specific than that, huh?
So they're miserable in what? In their marriage. They're miserable at work. They're miserable because their health is failing. They're miserable because their children hate them. Like, I need you to pick one miserable.
I'll pick miserable at work.
But miserable at work, which then translates into what? Like, how does that show up? Are they having conflict? Are they having fights at work? Are people leaving? Like, there's a churn. Their team is churning.
Okay, let's talk about conflicts at home.
Conflict at home. Okay. So I want you guys, so thank you, Mia, for playing. Because one thing I want you to notice is how we're just throwing spaghetti at the wall right now. We're just super guessing. And that is the most dangerous thing for you to do. When I work with clients, we are never guessing. I don't let you guess and I don't guess. What we do is we go through the steps that I showed you. We go through a whole list of all the assumptions of their pain. And then we go and we talk to the market. We never guess, because to your point, there's so many, Mia. How many pain points do these women have? We have no idea which one is the most prevalent, which one they're willing to pay someone like you for, and which one is the lowest hanging fruit that you can specialize in. Otherwise, it's a guessing game all day long, and you will lose money and time and go broke trying to guess your way into a niche. Okay? Does that help?
No. Well, I have been working on this for so long.
And I know what can help is if you go through this strategic process. That's what's sitting here guessing and me telling you that doesn't help. I totally get that. But figuring out, and that's what I'm going to do. In fact, that's what I'll do now. I'm going to show you guys. If you want to do this on your own, and there's a lot of you here that do want to do it on your own, let me just share my screen. I did not present this last time, but I am presenting it this time. I have a DIY solution for you guys that are not. So here's the, I have a program called Nail Your Niche. And this came out during COVID. I created this during COVID, and I wrote down everything that we do with clients. And my clients are anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 clients. So this is like literally, it's all recorded. First, you figure out your specialty, then you figure out your target, then you look at, okay, what's my brand like? And then your message. Once you have all that, then you figure out, okay, where do they hang out? And then where, like, how do I put my marketing plan together? And then that's like, you can, it's super affordable. It's $4.99, or you pay like over a month, you pay today, and then you pay in a month $2.98. So that's at repositioner.com/niche. Now, if you don't want a do-it-yourself, then schedule a complimentary session. And on the session, it's a positioning session. So we're going to talk about this differentiated positioning, a roadmap for the next 6 months, and clarity on your growth goals and how to overcome the obstacles. And the way to do that is you sign up for a call with me, repositioner.com/schedule. Okay. Does anyone have any questions around that? Let me just go back. Okay. So we can continue working on, is there anybody else who wants to, and I know, Ronnie, you and I have talked a lot. We'll give a chance to anybody else who wants to have a go. Is there anybody else who wants to try? And I haven't looked at the chat, but some people are just putting it into the chat. Yeah, Jimmy, you want to go? Are you unmuted? I can't hear you.
Sorry, I forgot I have to double unmute. Okay. All right. The niche, the industry that I am targeting are subcontractors like plumbing, HVAC companies, small companies. And one of the pain points, probably one of the biggest pain points that they face is misclassifying employees, meaning they classify them as W-2, I mean, as 1099 independent contractors, when according to the government, it should be W-2 employees. So this is what I've come up with. Did you know that 1 in 5 businesses misclassify the employees, which can result in substantial fines and/or lawsuits? I provide access to top-rated business attorneys for advice and consultation for a fraction of what they would normally pay.
Okay. So do I have your permission to polish, Jimmy?
Of course. That's why I'm here.
Okay. So your actual target is the subcontractors, right? The HVAC plumbing subcontractors.
Yeah. Okay. That's a smaller niche of the construction industry.
Okay. So you could either say construction I'm okay with, or you could say I work with subcontractors, and their number one problem. Did you know that 1 out of 5 subcontractors misclassify their employees, which results in $1 billion a year fine on average for their industry? What I do is I eliminate that by doing XYZ. Does that sound good?
A whole lot better.
Okay, so instead of saying businesses, I want you to replace that. You had it. You had a good formula. You did it exactly according to formula. So then I want you to put, instead of businesses, I want you to put the construction.
Okay.
Or the actual subcontractor, the plumbing subcontractor. Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Anybody else? I mean, I know Ronnie's waiting. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So unless anybody else wants to go, Ronnie and Melissa wants to go. So Ronnie, let's have you first, and then Melissa.
Thank you. Okay. I help people ditch discipline and willpower, and let me start again, sorry. I help people ditch discipline and willpower and hacks to achieve their goals. They stumble and they stop and they fail. And instead, I help you create easy, doable habits that don't take any more time and stress you out, but instead fit in your life, and you stick to those great new habits. That's in fitness, eating, wellness, career, even your love life.
Okay, and who's the target? Oh, do I have your permission to polish?
Yes, you do. Please.
The target is?
That's my problem. It's men and women. So if I have to pick one, I guess if I have to pick one, midlifers, but I work with people of all ages.
Yeah, you don't have to pick one. You just have to pick an interest group. So there's interests that men and women do together. So just pick an interest group. And we talked about this earlier, that you were going to think about what are some of the interests that you take part in, or what are some of the interest groups that you have access to. right?
Professionals.
That's not an interest. If it's professionals, then I want you to pick an industry. Is there an industry that you know a lot of people that work in, like hospitality or, I don't know, healthcare, like they're in pretty bad shape? You know, just pick an industry. You can pick coaches, you can pick
I
nurses.
think this is my problem. I help people stick to new habits. They're always there. I know their pain points. They think it'll take more time, or they get stressed out about thinking of a habit, and they try everything, but they fail.
Yeah, I mean, I maintain that you need to get way more focused. You need to get more focused about who the target is in terms of an industry or an interest group. And you also have to get more focused on what is the actual pain causing. So, I mean, what is the actual end result of the pain that they're
They
feeling?
fail at their goals and they procrastinate, or they don't stick to new habits and they procrastinate.
So you have to get way more specific. So if it's a nurse, let's say you're going to concentrate on nurses, what happens if they don't stick to goals? What goal? Is it a weight loss goal? So I help nurses stick to their weight loss goals so they never, you know, die from heart attack. That's your elevator pitch. So you have to get, do you see how the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying is? I'm super focused. It is so clear who you help. When I say it, it is so clear what you help them with. Whereas when you say it, there's so many possibilities. I can't possibly understand what you do.
But doesn't that pit me into only working with nurses? Or do I say that wherever I show up, I change the title or the group?
Strategically figure out whether you should work with nurses or teachers. You do the work to figure out there's enough of them to feed you for a year or 6 months. And then once you saturate that, you can move on to the next one and to the next one and to the next one. And it doesn't stop you from working with everyone. This is just for your marketing, just to get more people into the fold. It doesn't stop you from doing what you do with everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I know it's new. I know it's hard.
I have to pick one industry. Okay, let's just say at-home entrepreneurs who can't stick to habits because they're working at home.
Yeah, again, habits is too broad. You have to figure out what is the actual problem. Is it, you know, whatever habit it is, like, is it working? And so they're, you know, not able to meet their deadlines. And so they're missing their
Routines.
Well, you have to be way more specific, Ronnie. That's all I can tell you is you have to be more specific. I hope that helps. Okay, so we got one more person. Was it Kimberly? Who was it?
I think it was me. It's Melissa. Here, I'll put my video on.
Hi.
Hi. So based on your formula, I changed mine to, I help the 9 out of 10 new coaches who are spinning in their business, not getting any traction, get the clarity they need in their niche, offer, and messaging so they can get more clients.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so it's 9 out of 10 coaches, that's very clear. And the niche. So the problem is that because they don't have a niche, they're not getting clients, correct?
Yeah, they're just overwhelmed. It's mostly a mindset issue, but yeah, the niche, they spin and get overwhelmed about their niche, their offer, and their messaging. And because they're all interconnected, when they kind of get some traction on one and then you go into move into the other, it starts them questioning the former, and then they just kind of keep spinning.
So you have to find out when you go and do interviews, you have to figure out what is the pain that they recognize. So you have to see, like, one of the pain points, remember the 3 that we identified? So 1 could be that I don't have a niche. 2 could be that I'm overwhelmed with indecision about my business choices or my marketing choices. And a 3rd could be, I don't know how to get clients. So once you go and ask them these 3 pain points, then they are going to tell you. And then we always offer, okay, what's one that we haven't thought of that, you know, if it's none of the 3, what is an open-ended question that they can tell us? That's how they're going to pick it. Melissa, unfortunately, you and I know what the problem is, but the way that they word the problem, the way that they see the problem is the way to message. That is the one-liner. And you can't figure that out through Google. You can't figure, I mean, you could kind of, but it's much, much better if you actually talk to them and give them the 3 choices and then they pick one. and then you talk to enough people in that target, then you have a pretty good sense of this is where most minds are lying.
Well,
Like
and
one
that's,
go ahead.
to say with in the market research I've done and with the clients that I've had, it is one of like it's either niche, offer, or messaging. Mostly it starts at the niche.
Yeah. You know, I don't like my clients to talk to their existing clients because those clients already know, like, and trust them. They already know what they do. So I want you to go out and talk to fresh people in that target that you're looking at, and then just ask them blind those 3 questions, and then get them to say, okay, this is how I talk about it. This is what the problem is. This is how, you know, my SEO words are. And then this is how I look for that person who's going to help me. So I want you to do a fresh look at the market instead of looking at the people that are already working with you, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. Okay, guys. So I want to just quickly go back. So tomorrow for you, we are, so I already went through the nail your niche. The place to buy that is repositioner.com/niche. And then the complimentary session, I went through that. You do your schedule with me. And then tomorrow, same time, right here, same link. What we're going to cover is how to use your one-liner, how to integrate the positioning into your whole marketing, where to find the clients, and how to do a marketing plan to reach them. It's going to be, I'm going to do a full hour, but I've left like 90 minutes to see if anybody wants to ask me questions, and we can continue the conversation there. Are there any questions before we go? Who's able to make the bonus tomorrow? Anyone? Yeah? Oh, okay, good. Awesome. We have a core group. Awesome, awesome. Yay. Okay, wonderful. Okay, guys, any questions that we haven't answered so far? It's going to be a good one tomorrow. It's the first time that I'm doing it, and it's actually a module out of the Nail Your Niche. All right. Okay, everyone. We will see you tomorrow. Bye, Jody. Thank you. All the best.